Men of Reddit, what's the most difficult thing to explain to women? I don't always want to be the one that initiates sex. It makes me feel like a creep. Yes. This. I think women get so used to being hit all the time, from the age they grew boobs, that they fall into the mindset that they don't have to ever do anything to make a guy feel wanted or desired. I also hypothesize that this is why so many guys get addicted to strip clubs. One of my buddies took me to one once and immediately I felt like I'd fallen down the rabbit hole. Sure, guys go to see naked women, but honestly I saw a lot more guys were actually paying the women just to sit and flirt with them, my friend included. He just kept paying this one woman to sit and talk, enjoying the fantasy of women actually pursuing them. Those are the guys who are regulars. I will admit honestly I had a really hard time seeing through the illusion knowing it was just that. Those women are there to make money, and they know just how to get it. A lot of them approach you acting genuine and really sweet. They make you feel like you're on a first date that's going well, and then they get to business. And it works every time because guys are so not used to being approached or flirted with. I've told this to my girlfriend several times, because it's a pretty big problem for me as well. She tells me sex doesn't just cross her mind randomly if I don't initiate. I remember her initiating 3 or 4 times in the 7 years we've been together. I still feel like a fucking creep every time I start. And when she doesn't reject me, it feels like she's doing me a favor. Very healthy, I know. Hard doesn't mean horny. Similarly, not hard doesn't mean not horny. Said another way, horny doesn't always mean hard. I can't tell if you're flirting with me or not. Good news? Neither can most people. This has literally been studied, and judging flirting is only correct about 1/3 of the time. Time to reverse psychology this. I don't think you're flirting with me. That must mean you are flirting with me. You'll now be correct 67% of the time. Why do you have a boner? Do I look like a fucking doctor? No, I do not know why. Why do you have a boner? I don't know. He just moved in one day. Wanted to get to know the neighbors. How the F_CK am I supposed to know why it's here? He's just popping up to say hello. He'll go back to his home soon. That I'm happy just hanging out doing nothing. I feel this. Even my male friends don't get this sometimes. I genuinely just really like doing nothing, guys. Doesn't mean I don't want to hang out. You're more than welcome to come by, but I'm busy doing nothing right now. We call this catting. Many cats show affection by just being in the room with you. They don't necessarily want to interact or play, just be there. As an introvert, I so get it. Sometimes I don't want to interact. Not even with my husband. Sometimes I just want to do my own thing, but in the same room. Maybe on the same couch. Max occasionally will make meow noises at each other. It's pretty great. How 2 or more men can bond just by standing in a room in silence. I once worked with a guy for 3 years and never learned his name. Best friend I ever had. We still never talk sometimes. Bro, holy crap, I've never really connected with my grandpa because he's old and does the whole boys don't show emotion thing, and I always just give him a handshake when I see him. But today I went over to his house with my girlfriend, and we were there for like 3 hours talking to him and my grandma. I was hungry, so I told them I was gonna leave to get something to eat, and he said, "Don't do that, let's go and get pizza." So I went with him to the restaurant to order and pick up the pizza while my girlfriend stayed and talked to my grandma. My grandpa and I made small talk for about half the time we were waiting for pizza, then didn't really say a word to each other for the rest of the time, but I really felt like I haven't bonded with my grandpa like that ever, and it was just amazing. So was the pizza. So I definitely agree with this statement. That I really want to dress up in full plate armor and own a warhorse. No man ever asked me why I owned a 500mm Watt laser. Everyone wants this, regardless of gender. We can feel unattractive too. Just because I don't want to sleep with you, doesn't mean I don't love you or find you attractive. Just like you, guys can feel insecure about our bodies and not feel confidence, and having you question if it's because we don't love you anymore makes it feel like we can't be honest about those types of things. And hell, guys can just be not in the mood. It could have nothing to do with you, but a guy could just not really be feeling it that day. I had a girlfriend back in the army, real clingy, real physical girl. Most of the time, that was fine by me. One week, We had done a lot of outdoor training, and on Friday, we concluded with a 12-mile ruck march. I was tired, and just wanted to take a shower and go to bed at about 8. She begged me to come over and hang out with her. I finally give in. Fine, but we're just going to watch a movie. Halfway through the movie, and she's all over me. I'm like, no, I'm sore, I'm tired, I walked so far today that some toenails fell off. No. She wasn't having it. Eventually, I give in. I tell her that I'll get naked and get in the bed. If she can wake it up and do all the work, fine. So, she totally did. But then she got mad at me for falling asleep pretty much immediately after I was done, and not finishing her off. I tried to explain to her that I was barely awake enough to drive there in the first place, much less stay awake after that. To her, it was clear that I just wasn't interested in her anymore. I must not think she's hot anymore, or I'm cheating on her. She just couldn't understand that it wasn't about her. She dumped me about 2 weeks later. Sometimes we are too shy to make the first move or take it further because we don't know if you're okay with that. My female friends had a hard time understanding why I was single. I told them I was tired of chasing people, saying cute stuff, etc. I want them to do the same for me. I also want to feel special and worthy. They told me that it's the guy's obligation to go after the girl and that they wouldn't make the first move. Had a whole argument with them that they should also try to make the first move or give friendly compliments to their guy friends. We also get tired of being friendly. I don't know if most difficult, but it sure did took a while to explain to my ex that we don't look at each other's dicks at the urinals. First man goes furthest from the door, second goes furthest from the first, third equidistant between the two. It's like electrons filling out valences in an atom. Because both are fundamental laws of nature. When you ask me what I'm thinking about, and I occasionally say, nothing, I'm literally staring off into the middle distance and spacing out. I'm not failing to share with you. It's like a mini reset button that takes 30 to 90 seconds to reboot the mainframe and stop a shutdown. Next time that happens, just respond, pizza. What are you thinking? Pizza. Yeah, pizza does sound good. You might get pizza. In a moment of anger, I'm smart enough to understand that shooting off at the mouth and saying something I don't really mean is far worse than saying nothing, realizing it's not the end of the world, and excusing myself to recollect my thoughts. Just because I walked away from a conversation that was quickly going the wrong way doesn't mean I'm metaphorically walking away from the other person or the relationship. I occasionally just need a couple minutes or hours. Why I want cuddles every day. And to be the little spoon. Even if I'm a giant and you'd be my backpack or jetpack, sometimes it's really nice to be the little spoon. My fiancée refused to be the big spoon for the longest time until I badgered her to just do it, and she was like, oh shit, this is cool. So now she prefers being the big spoon most of the time. Life hacked. How do I find a man that needs cuddles just as much as I do? I tried putting it on dating profiles, but it makes me look like I'm asexual or something. I don't know how to word it or attract the cuddlers. Any input would be helpful. Rule 33. Even if a guy wants to bang, Mr. Penis is gonna do whatever the hell he wants. Mr. Penis will be soft as warm chocolate bars if that's what he wants. Mr. Penis is a real dick. Fuck yeah, he is. Mr. Penis has ruined so much sex for me that I chalked him out over it. That many men only have meaningful physical contact with their single men often exist in touch isolation. For a variety of reasons and social pressures, many men experience a lack of physical contact. Most men I know won't even feel comfortable hugging their best friend. For a long time, the only physical contact I had with other people was either sexual or a part of a competitive sport. Getting closer to my middle age, I've learned to hug my friends and have platonic physical contact. It's really helped my mental health. I used to feel alone all the time even when I was with friends. Hug your male friends and help them normalize platonic physical affection. Working retail years ago, a customer put some change into my hand, and her fingertips touched my palm. I realized it had been the first time I'd been touched by another person in a long time. We struggle with insecurities, feelings of inadequacy, and feeling like we are worthless too, and a big thing we struggle with is many of us feel like we are only loved on the condition we provide something, i.e. financial resources, ability to protect, that sort of thing, and society does a really bad job of even attempting to convince us that isn't true. And in fact, the general narrative around the subject actually enforces such feelings rather than attempting to dispel them. Growing up, we are told we need to earn lots of money in order to provide for a wife and kids, and the media shows all the rich guys getting the girls and dating. In later years, the topic always comes up about how much we make and what our future prospects are like, and it can be really discouraging. I've personally been turned down because she unashamedly said I wasn't wealthy enough to keep her happy. When you asked me how my day was or what I did today, nothing in my day usually stands out as special, so I just don't remember. I usually don't remember what I do, I just live. My husband and I have this backwards. He always wants to talk about his ordinary workday, whereas I'd rather not be asked about work because what is there to say? I worked. If anything was exciting about it, I would have said so. I genuinely don't care where we go for dinner. Wife, what do you want for dinner? Me, I don't care, you choose. Wife, oh, I don't care either, really, your choice. Me, okay. How about pizza? Wife, ugh, no, too unhealthy. Me, Chinese? Wife, we had Chinese last week. Me, Indian? Wife, no, too spicy. Me, okay, no worries, you choose. Wife, I already told you. I don't care, just pick something. I read somewhere that if you tell her that you know where to get food from but she has to guess, she will get excited and say what she really wants. You just go with whatever she says and she will go nuts. Some of us just can't properly express our emotions, even when we're allowed to be vulnerable. We've been psychological conditioned not to for most of our lives. Even when we try to, there's just something that won't let it fully come out. I was going through a tough time and finally cried in years, yet it felt so wrong and out of place. It isn't as easy as just saying, be vulnerable, or let those emotions out. We're physically incapable of doing so, it's so strange. What's the most difficult thing to explain to women? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.